Colby Covington is finally speaking. And yesterday he sat down with Brett Okamoto, and he had some very interesting things to say. This was one of them.
So what's it been like for you to try to get this rematch booked? What's it been like?
Man, it's been such a journey, and just it's been tough, bro. Like, it wasn't supposed to happen. They did not want it to happen. You know, his manager, they were refusing. They were trying to find every way in the book out of fighting this rematch. They didn't want this fight, man. And the only reason they have to take is the UFC gave them no choice. They said, hey, you fight this fight or we just strip you. It's been tough. I had to go out, and finish a former world champion in Woodley. He got 2 easy paychecks against lightweights that should have never been there. His last fight, he's beating a guy in Street Judas Masvidal. You're proud for beating that guy? That guy's a lightweight. He shouldn't even be up here in the top of the mountain.
What was going on behind the scenes in terms of, why weren't you more active, I suppose?
Yeah, the facts is no one wanted to fight me. I mean, go to Hunter Campbell, go to Dana White, ask them the truth. No one would fight me. I was trying to put on the big and best fights for the UFC. No one wanted to take the bait, so now we are here, and we get the best fight in the welterweight division, and it's going to be a real treat for the fans.
Man, let me tell you something. In that first fight, it was crazy. Usman and Covington were very active. Usman was super accurate. And in the later rounds, in a fight, Ryan, where it was 2-2 going into round 5, Usman gets the finish when he breaks Colby Covington's jaw. Now, the one thing that really stands out here, with the 395 strikes that Covington threw, Usman throwing 360 and landing 175, Colby 143. Ryan Clark, nobody can keep up with the pace of Colby Covington. We have seen him melt so many individuals inside the octagon with his pace and his pressure. Usman was able to withstand that, and not only withstand that, but take it to the next level. But when Covington says it's been difficult to get this rematch, we thought we would have seen these two fight again a long time ago. So I wonder what it took for Colby to find himself locked in the octagon with Usman again in New York City. And you can see the relief that he feels knowing that he has the fight again.
Yeah, I mean, you see relief, but it's also Colby Covington, right? It's Colby Covington who understands how to build a fight. It's Colby Covington who understands how to make sure the spotlight is some way on him. And it's also very much like Colby Covington to feel like he's been done wrong in this process. But that's the great thing about the UFC. That's a great thing about prize fighting. Guess what? Every now and then, eventually you get your shot. And now he has his shot. And when you think about Kamaru Usman and the people that he's knocked out since Colby Covington, and also how much better we've seen Kamaru Usman look since that fight, I think Colby Covington was the day he leveled up. Honestly, to me, that going through that war, being under that type of intense pressure and showing the world that you could stand up to that pressure. I remember when they finally booked the fight, I went back to watch the first fight because I wanted to see it. And going into the 5th round, a guy I really respect, and I've said this before, named Daniel Cormier, says these are the best 170 pounders in the world. And I was in 100 complete agreement. I didn't see that night any other fighter that could beat Kamaru Usman. I didn't see that night any other fighter that could beat Colby Covington. And so now we finally get it again. This was the day, though, I started to respect Kamaru Usman in a different way. Man, I saw the pressure Colby Covington put on, right? I saw the clean shots that Kamaru Usman had to take. I also saw this dude walk through them. I also saw this dude, two of the greatest or two of the best grapplers or wrestlers at their size, say, you know what? I'm not really tripping on takedowns, right? I'm not really tripping on taking this fight to the mat because I know that we both can equalize each other there, or we both can minimize what we can do there. So we're going to throw hands. And that was the night we started to realize that this straight right that Kamaru Usman throws is different, bro. And we've seen it take out now Gilbert Burns. We've seen it take out now Jorge Masvidal. So it's going to be interesting strategically what these two dudes do, because you got to feel, if you're both of them, that you were fighting a winning fight.
You know the thing that this fight presents for me is that you got the two best welterweights in the world. I don't think for a second that anyone can beat these two, as you said. That night we learned how tough Kamaru Usman was and is today, because he had to really go through the fire. Now, the one thing about Colby Covington that really stands out, he's a guy that people love to hate, and we're going to get to that a little bit later in the show, but he says enough truths to where you have to take him serious. Because when he says it was hard to get this fight again, It absolutely was. When he says that we're the two best in the world, absolutely was. When he says that Kamaru Usman beat two lightweights, there's enough truth in that to where people can kind of go, well, Gilbert Burns did spend a really long portion of his career at 155. Masvidal for a long time fought 55. But these guys are not lightweights anymore. These are full-on welterweights that Kamaru Usman beat in impressive fashion, even though before they fought at lightweight. But Colby does a good job of telling you just enough truth. But if he's going to get the belt off of this dude right here, he's got to be willing to go and dig even deeper than he's ever dug before in his entire life. Because Kamaru Usman is an absolute savage. And speaking to Usman, as I do personally, I know that Usman loves being a champion. I saw him on Steve Harvey the other day buying his mom a house. Dude not only loves the fight, RC, he absolutely loves the life of a champion, and he is not going to let that go easily.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a dude that shows it, right? He tell you, I'm pound for pound. Like, I'm the guy right now.
Well, he's the number one guy now.
Right.
He's number one guy.
Exactly. And I think the other piece of it for me is when I look back on the second Jorge Masvidal fight, where Jorge Masvidal kind of talked about taking the fight on short notice and lasting 5 rounds with the champ. All the champ did the entire fight was stomp on my feet, woo, woo, woo. Like all of these things that made it even more personal for Kamaru Usman. Now, if we go back to some of the pre-fight lead up, the last time these two dudes fought, it was flat out disrespectful. Straight up. It was flat out disrespectful. Like the fact that they even had the ability to contain what they felt emotionally was crazy to me.
Yes,
and so I think that this fight, you even get more of that because now you're adding to that. Colby Covington is basically saying, DC, that Kamaru Usman was scared.
Ran away from, he's saying he was scared. Colby Covington's trying to say he's scared. But Ryan, hey, dude, we were in Brooklyn for a press conference before Stipe and I fought the second time. They had to keep them cats away from each other the whole time but then Colby kept walking up to Usman trying to initiate some sort of altercation. Dude, for as annoying as people see Colby Covington, he can be a master of building interest in a fight.
Yeah.
And the dude can absolutely fight. And I'm telling you one thing that speaks volumes to who you are as an athlete is when your enemies start to respect you. And one of Kamaru Usman's best training partners and friends, Justin Gaethje, also sat down with ESPN. And this is what he had to say about Colby Covington as they both fight in New York City in November.
Man, it's hard to not be biased. I dislike Colby like so much. So I want to see him really just put it on him. But he's a damn good fighter, that little piece of person, but he's a good fighter, good wrestler, hungry, stupid and crazy like we all are.
Hey, that speaks volumes though, Ryan. That speaks volumes when your enemies or your enemies' friends are respecting you in that way.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the tape is the tape. And I've always said that. Antonio Brown is a guy who I've obviously had my own run-ins personally with, right? And we have certain feelings. I mean, me and this dude had to be separated at practice more than one time. But I can sit and watch film and I can sit and watch him play even now in Tampa Bay and say, you know what? This dude's one of the best to ever do it. And I think that's something that we as athletes can do, and it's part of respect. It's part of understanding how hard it is to do what we do for a living, to be a 2-division champ like you were, to be an undrafted free agent that played 13 years in the league and win a Super Bowl. Yep. You get what it is to try or to work to excel at what you do. And that's all Justin Gaethje is talking about. When you watch Colby Covington fight, the dude doesn't have weaknesses. He could take you to the ground and win there. Obviously, in the stand-up, it's relentless and continual pressure. And if you're Justin Gaethje, a man who fights in the same way, I think the greatest compliment you can give a UFC fighter is he's stupidly crazy like the rest of us.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.